Suzanne, are we still waiting on anyone at all, or?
All right, we're gonna call the meeting to order now. This meeting is being held in accordance with the Sunshine Laws of the State of New Jersey, Chapter 145, by Mayor and Council and the Planning Board for official notices. Notice of this meeting was posted on the Borough Bulletin Board and the borough's website for that purpose. Can I have a roll call, Suzanne?
Ms. Bonacorsi? Mr. Madden?
Here.
Mr. Dukakis?
Here.
Chairman Hansen?
Here.
Mayor Hauk? Councilwoman Herron?
Here.
Mr. Schmidt?
Here.
Here's we have a quorum. Everybody salute the flag, please. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Yeah, tell me about it.
Scott's not gonna make it. He's got issues with his phone.
So we're gonna have 5 then for that.
He's not coming.
Yeah, he's
No,
got
okay.
his medical issues.
It's 5.
We have some administrative business to attend to first. First thing is approval of the minutes of the August 15th, 2024 meeting. Has everybody had a chance to review the minutes? So I'll take a motion to approve the minutes.
So moved.
Second. Any questions or comments or revisions to the minutes? Hearing none, voice vote, all in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed, any abstentions?
Abstain?
Zach abstains. He wasn't here last month, I believe. We have 2 resolutions from last month. First is case 24-7-3P. That's Brittany Donato, 123 10th Avenue, block 45, lot 23. And that was a bulk variance, or bulk variances, I should say, for an attached garage with a swimming pool. All the members that voted affirmatively in the case had a chance to review the resolution. Any questions or comments on it? Revisions? Seeing none, entertain a motion to approve the resolution.
I'll make a motion to approve.
I'll second.
Roll call, Suzanne?
Ms. Bonacorsi?
Yes.
Mr. Dukakis?
Yes.
Chairman Hansen?
Yes.
Mr. Madden?
Yes.
Mr. Schmidt?
Yes.
Motion passes. Next resolution is case number 24-8-1P. That's Danae and Daria Vespi, 26 Lippincott Ave, Block 5, Lot 5, and that was for C variances relief with respect to a single-family home addition. Have all the members that voted affirmatively had a chance to review the resolution? Any questions, comments, revisions? Seeing none, entertain a motion to approve the resolution.
Move to approve resolution 24-8-1P.
We have a second.
I'll second. Jen seconds.
Ms.
Roll call.
Bonacorsi?
Yes.
Mr. Dukakis?
Yes.
Chairman Hansen?
Yes.
Councilwoman Herron?
Yes.
Mr. Madden?
Yes.
Mr. Schmidt?
Yes.
Motion passes. Okay, at this point, we're going to open the meeting for public comment, but only for public comment for matters that aren't on tonight's agenda. So any public comment on anything that's not related to any of the cases that are on our agenda for this evening? Seeing none, we'll close that portion. For the new business portion of the meeting, our professionals involved with the redevelopment plan presentation for 322 White Horse Pike have conflicts and need to leave early, so we're going to move that case to the front of the agenda this evening. So I'll call forward Ms. Gibbons, Ms. Fury Bruder, who will present the redevelopment plan for that property this evening. We're here for a master plan consistency review this evening, I understand. Thank you for being here this evening.
Emily Gibbons, redevelopment council of the borough. Mayor and council have introduced an ordinance to adopt the redevelopment plan that you'll be reviewing this evening for master plan consistency. They have referred that to you for that function. The redevelopment plan has been prepared by Ms. Fury Bruder, and she will go over the content of the redevelopment plan, and she will detail her findings with regard to consistency with the borough's master plan.
Should we have Leah sworn for, do we need to have her sworn for a master plan consistency review? Is this,
Yes, we should have her sworn for her.
okay. Mr. Bach won't be giving any testimony this evening, will he?
You might as well.
We'll have you sworn just in
Swear
case.
him in.
We'll swear at you anyway.
We both swear to, you solemnly swear the testimony, but give the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God. You are sworn, Mr. Chairman.
So good evening, everyone. Leah Fury Bruder. I'm one of the borough's planners, redevelopment planner. I did prepare this redevelopment plan for your review this evening. It was introduced by Borough Council at their meeting earlier this week, and it was referred to the planning board by resolution 2024-174. As I usually do, give a little quick background about the redevelopment investigation process, just for anyone who may not be familiar with it, who's here listening this evening. So in 2022, Borough Council authorized the planning board to do a preliminary redevelopment investigation for 2 distinct areas of the borough. One of them is along the Blackfoot Pike. That was Area 1, I believe it was referred to, and then Area 2 is essentially along portions of the White Horse Pike and Station Avenue. The borough undertook that redevelopment planning initiative after observing that many of the study area properties were underutilized, were exhibiting signs of neglect, or were designed in a manner that really wasn't conducive to revitalization. Some of them were underutilized or vacant, and these conditions had persisted for many years. So the redevelopment investigation was undertaken to try to catalyze some change. The redevelopment needs investigation was prepared by Pannoni Associates in 2022, and that report provides an overview of the redevelopment study process and the findings. On April 5th, in accordance with April 5th, 2022, Resolution 2022-74, after a public hearing and a recommendation from the planning board, the Borough Council designated certain properties in the study area as an area in need of redevelopment, non-condemnation, and certain properties in area in need of rehabilitation. This redevelopment plan that we're talking about this evening actually only applies to 2 lots. It's lots 10 and 11 in Block 36, which are located at the intersection of the White Horse Pike and East High Street. And these are part of the non-condemnation redevelopment area. The property is commonly known as the Jefferson Bank site. It consists of, this refers, of course, to the bank that operated at the site for many years. It was also, I believe, briefly occupied by TD Bank, but has been closed and vacant for many years at this point. The lots are developed with 2 formerly residential colonial revival buildings that were connected by a 1-story office and breezeway. They were converted for the bank use. These buildings, as you know, are critical to the White Horse Pike corridor, which has retained a tree-lined small character feel despite the changeover to many non-residential uses along White Horse Pike and the high traffic volume. The revitalization and reuse of these buildings will have a stabilizing effect on the White Horse Pike corridor, especially if they retain the general rhythm of the buildings that exist on the sites today. So the next step in the redevelopment planning process following the designation is the preparation of a redevelopment plan, which will establish an outline for the planning, development, and redevelopment of the area. And of course, the redevelopment and housing law provides the required elements of the redevelopment plan. These include the relationship to local objectives, proposed land uses and building requirements, identification of any land to be acquired, a housing inventory and relocation provisions if there's a need for replacement housing, which in this case there is not. The relationship of master plans of adjacent towns, the county, and the state plan, the relationship to the municipal master plan, the relationship to the borough's land development regulations, and proposed locations for electric vehicle charging infrastructure. The redevelopment plan may also include the provision of affordable housing in accordance with the Fair Housing Act and the borough's housing element and fair share plan. And this plan does require an affordable housing set aside of 15% of any residential units that are constructed. So the planning board's role, as I think most of you are familiar with by now, is that to review the redevelopment plan. And redevelopment law provides that all provisions of the redevelopment plan shall be either substantially consistent with the municipal master plan or designed to effectuate the master plan. But the governing body may adopt a redevelopment plan which is inconsistent with or not designed to effectuate the master plan by affirmative vote of the majority of its full authorized membership, with the reasons for so acting set forth on the record. So prior to the adoption of the redevelopment plan, the planning board is to transmit to the governing body within 45 days after referral a report containing its recommendation concerning the redevelopment plan. This report should include an identification of any provisions of the proposed redevelopment plan which are inconsistent with the master plan and recommendations concerning these inconsistencies and any other matters the board deems appropriate. So the purpose of tonight's review is the review of the redevelopment plan to determine whether or not it is generally consistent with the borough's master plan. This document, or the redevelopment plan, will serve as a zoning overlay for designated redeveloper. The current underlying zoning is the professional office zoning district, so that zoning remains when the redevelopment plan is in effect. Okay, so the goals of this redevelopment plan are essentially to enable the adaptive reuse of those two original residential structures, to enliven the site and bring together historic preservation, economic development, and housing goals. Also to halt the deterioration of the buildings in the historic district and allow for alternate uses that will enable preservation and restoration of architectural features of the original dwellings and forms and complementary building additions. Also to encourage an inviting and connected continuous streetscape, to ensure the maintenance, the retention and maintenance of the mass form and setbacks of the buildings relative to the White Horse Pike frontage, and to promote the design of buildings and site improvements that complement the historic character of the borough and respect the scale of surrounding uses. And lastly, to provide opportunities for the creation of new housing, including the restricted affordable units. So the redevelopment plan provides standards for the redevelopment of the site, including permitted uses, bulk standards, and design controls. And this, in this case, enables and encourages the reuse and adaptation of those existing structures, and the removal of non-contributing structures. Meaning, there's like an overhang in the back of that building that was created, I believe, for like a bank drive-through. That can and should be removed. Additionally, there's a glass wall at the front of the site, which is non-contributing, so that can and should be removed as well. Any additions, additions could be enabled, permitted, but they would have to be in the rear of the building, nothing forward of the front facade. It is anticipated that this redevelopment plan may be amended in the future to accommodate additional properties in the designated rehabilitation area that could further expand opportunities for small-scale multifamily residential development. Any later phases would, of course, require an amendment to the redevelopment plan, which would come back to you again for review. And they would be designed in a coordinated way as parts of a whole. I bring that up just because, you know, this is for two lots. There is a lot behind these lots that is in the redevelopment area, and then lots on the same block to the west or north are also in the redevelopment area. So, you know, as we've been kind of opportunistically seeing which lots are right for opportunities, and at this point, these two lots are right for opportunity, but we may come back and look at those other surrounding lots in the future. So you all have a copy of the redevelopment plan, I believe. There's a lot of details in there about what's required and permitted. I can answer any questions for you, but I'll jump to my take on consistency with the master plan. And that is that one of the central goals of Haddon Heights master plans and other planning documents over the last several decades has been to strengthen, safeguard, stabilize, and improve the historic district in a manner that fosters civic pride and promotes continued investment and beautification of the community. The borough's master plan recognizes that adaptive reuse of historic buildings can advance the master plan while maintaining their essential characteristics, allowing those buildings to evolve while maintaining the historic character and architectural character of the corridor. In 2021, consistent with the master plan goals and objectives, the borough's Historic Preservation Commission prepared a document entitled Design Guidelines for the Historic Districts and Individual Landmark Properties of Haddon Heights. These guidelines provide context, recommendations, and direction that property owners, developers, and architects and community members can use as a resource. So this redevelopment plan considers the circumstances of the Jefferson Bank site and its place in the historic district and encourages renovations and adaptation that utilize the design guidance in that document. specifically the residential design guidelines. Another recurring theme in the borough's master plan documents is to ensure the availability of a wide range of housing types in the borough designed to complement rather than imitate historic buildings. And also the master plan reports have encouraged the location of housing within and around the central business district to help support and enliven the business district. The borough's 2016 fair share settlement, which sets forth the borough's affordable housing compliance plan, did anticipate that unmet affordable housing need would partially be met through the implementation of redevelopment projects. And though the Jefferson Bank site was not specifically anticipated at that time, the borough's updated compliance plan will include this project as a compliance mechanism for providing at least 15% of the units as affordable. So all of the borough's planning efforts over the last several decades have focused on the goal of preserving the borough's physical and environmental amenities while promoting redevelopment and infill in response to the evolving needs of the community. And this redevelopment plan encourages adaptive reuse of these existing buildings, and also encourages the utilization of the design guidance provided in the historic design guidelines document. So I believe in general that this proposal is entirely consistent with the borough's master plan.
Thank you. Yeah, I thought the plan looked really good. I think it's going to be great to get something going down there. That site's sat vacant for way too long. This will be a really good reuse of the site, I think. Report was really easy to follow and nice, I thought. Does anybody have any questions or comments regarding the report?
And again, this is just, we have to make a finding that's consistent with the master plan. You heard testimony with regard to that. If you have any questions or any conditions you want to add to this, just let us know. We have with us Ms. Gibbons, who's our redevelopment counsel. And Ms. Gibbons, anything further that you want to tell the board at all? Or?
I just want to, for the public's benefit, the overlay zoning means that any developer who would like to utilize this overlay zoning rather than the underlying zoning of the professional office would have to enter into a redevelopment agreement with the borough before they can come with a planning board application to utilize and come forth with a multifamily or one of the other permitted uses that's not also permitted in the professional office. So just want to make that clear, what overlay means.
Which gives the town more control over the application and the approval.
That's correct.
Much like Station Lofts, if we do have a redeveloper, they'll go to council to get the redevelopment agreement, and they'll still have to come back to the planning board with a site plan application, just like any other development would take place.
That's correct. The planning board never loses their authority to review and evaluate site plan applications.
Okay. Thank you. Anything else?
You have a resolution before you this evening with the finding of consistency with the master plan. If you have any changes to the resolution, we can make those changes number of chunks, and you can adopt this and memorialize it at your next meeting. If you find that the resolution accurately reflects your feelings this evening, it can be adopted.
Mr. Chairman, I've had a chance to review this very well done resolution and find it's appropriate for this hearing.
Okay. Unless anybody has any questions or comments for Emily or Leah, we'll open the meeting up to the public at this point for anybody that wants to speak regarding the master plan consistency review this evening. Seeing none, we'll close public and bring it back to the board for a vote. Like Mike said, we're going to vote on the resolution to determine master plan consistency.
First, you have to vote on the master plan consistency, then you vote on the resolution. So there's two votes.
Okay, 2 votes.
Yep.
Let's vote on the master plan consistency first. Does anybody want to make a motion to accept the master plan consistency of the redevelopment plan per what's been provided?
I'll make a motion to approve the redevelopment plan for the consistency with the master plan for block 36, lots 10 and 11.
Thanks, Mike. We have a second?
I'll second.
Well, any questions or comments on the motion? Seeing none, roll call, please, Suzanne.
Sure. Mayor Houck,
Yes.
Councilwoman Herron,
Yes.
Chairman Hanson,
Yes.
Mr. Dukakis.
Yes.
Mr. Madden,
Yes.
Ms. Bonaccorsi, and Mr. Schmidt.
Yes.
Motion passes. Thanks again for all your hard work on this. Look forward to see what's coming in the future. Oh, hold on, we have to do the resolution. You said the,
I find the resolution to
Resolution.
comply with what was just testified to and accurately reflects the record.
we're going to hold you to that, Mike.
You got it.
Does anybody want to
I'll
make
make
a
a motion to
resolution to
approve the
approve the resolution?
I'll make a motion to approve the resolution as written.
I'll second.
John's got the second. Roll call, Suzanne?
Sure. Mayor Halk,
Yes.
Councilwoman Herron,
Yes.
Chairman Hanson,
Yes.
Mr. Dukakis.
Yes.
Ms. Bonaccorsi,
Yes.
Mr. Madden,
Yes.
and Mr. Schmidt.
Yes.
Motion passes.
Very well done.
Thank you.
Thank you again. So the next case is the only case that doesn't have a use aspect to it this evening, so we're going to handle case number 24-9-1P so that Councilwoman Herron and the mayor can be on their way as they're not allowed to participate in the last two matters this evening, so I don't want to hold them up. Right now, we're going to do case number 24-9-1P, and that's James and Victor Porcelli, 1017 Prospect Ridge Boulevard, Block 68, Lot 14, and it's a C variance relief for a one-story addition. If you come forward and we'll have our solicitor swear you in and qualify Sloan, I believe it is.
It's Janet.
It says James on my agenda, actually, okay. That doesn't mean I'm above getting it wrong, okay. All right, for the record, it is Janet and Victor Porcelli.
I should have caught it before myself. Okay, we have Janet and Victor Porcelli. Who else do we have? Anyone else as a witness? Sloan
We did St. Mary's in January.
Springer.
Look it up.
All right. If, I'm going to also swear in Mr. Bach for the review as well.
Anybody that's going to give
Everyone raise your right
testimony?
hand. You solemnly swear the testimony you're about to give is the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God. All are sworn for the record, Mr. Chair. Mr. Chair, I do find that the board has jurisdiction in this matter. We are ready to proceed.
Sloan, you're going to be testifying in the area of architecture. I believe you've been before this board before, correct? And we've recognized him as an expert in the field of architecture. I believe you're a licensed architect, state of New Jersey. Okay, we can accept his credentials then.
Also, for the record, I see we have a illustration board. Is that going to be our only exhibit, Mr. Springer? Yes. What do we want to call that? We'll call it A1, but what do we want to label it?
Correct. These are the same.
It's part of the
Yeah, I
application.
think it's labeled as the site plan. The renderings on the bottom, I don't know, were they
Site
submitted?
rendering board.
Yes. Might as well just have it marked just to be
Yep.
safe, right?
You just mark it as A1. Thank you. Okay, Mr. Chairman, I guess we can proceed. Mr. and Mrs. Porcelli, I understand you're before us for an application to construct a 287 square foot, one-story addition to an existing dwelling located on the northerly side of Prospect Ridge Boulevard between Lake Street and 10th Street. Is that correct? And you're looking as well to replace the existing bituminous driveway and associated proposed site improvements. Now, this property has, Mr. Bach, I think we have just looking for it. There are some bulk variances on this application.
That is correct.
Lot coverage, side yard setback are the two variances that are looked for. On lot coverage, the proposal is for 45.2%, where 30% is required. Also, for the side yard, it is 10 feet is required, and 8.46 is what is proposed. Is that correct? All right. Mr. and Mrs. Porcelli, you have a witness with you tonight, Mr. Sloan Springer, is that correct? As the architect, if you could just give a narration to the board as to what is proposed.
So we're proposing to essentially take pull forward call it the L shape of the front of the house, adding in, filling in that bottom left quadrant corner for additional living and bedroom, future bedroom area to have a bedroom on the first floor. And the existing house is 2 feet over the setback line on that side. And then the other variance that we're seeking is the coverage, which, as you can see from the survey and site plan, the lot is full. So our proposal is to basically pull up the driveway and go back with a permeable system to help alleviate and get that coverage down as much as possible.
Okay, Mr. and Mrs. Porcelli, the reason for this addition, just need more room, or what is the
Well,
reason?
we want to stay in Haddon Heights. We've been here 40 years. Our kids went to Heights. We don't really want to move. So we are looking at the age in place. Right now, our bedroom is on the 3rd floor, a lot of steps. We are both in our late 70s right now. I'm trying to get ahead of the curve. And by doing this addition, for the time being, we can use that addition as a family room. We entertain a lot. Family room, and then at some point, because we'll have a full bath down there as well, we'll be able to, at some point, wall that off, have a bedroom, and a small den again. So we're just trying to get in front of it before it's too late.
Understood.
So we can.
Yeah, this is a common, it's a common theme in a lot of development these days, is to have that first floor situation, unless you install an elevator, which is extremely expensive.
Yeah, and how we would do it with that house.
It's an old house.
Mr. Chairman, with your permission, we want to hear from Mr. Bach.
When we go through Mr. Bach's letter, probably answer a lot of questions that the board might have.
Refer everyone to our September 12th, 2024 review. As our solicitors already indicated, there's two variances required this evening, but also we note a lot of existing nonconformity, which will reflect in the resolution. So the applicant remains vested, and that's already provided on page 204. The applicant is proposing, and this is a mitigating factor, the applicant is proposing to continue to exceed the required maximum lot coverage of 30% maximum required in the zone. We have 45.2%. Existing is 47.5%. But we reviewed the application materials, and with the permeable pavers that are being proposed for the driveway area, the actual impervious coverage area will be reduced down to 37.4%. So I believe that is a mitigating factor in terms of the lot coverage relief that we're requesting this evening. We also note in our report that because the disturbance of the land will be over 500 square feet, a grading plan will be required. I just want to note that for the record, maybe the solicitor can note this in the resolution, they do provide a representative detail of the permeable pavers. However, it shows it draining to public storm sewer. I would defer the review of the permeable paver system to the lot grading application. And typically, you would want the permeable paver to reflect, or at least be similar to what the DEP suggests for permeable pavers. Again, it's not a hard requirement, but we just want to give some guidance to the applicant. So with that, unless there's any other questions on review, from the board or from the applicant.
Anybody want to ask any questions or make any comments?
In the lot coverage, is the surface area of the swimming pool also included in that? Okay, thank you.
That is our definition.
I have a question. How does your property drain now? Is it relatively flat? Does it slope to the back, to the
There's some
front?
slope at the beginning, but it flattens out in the back.
Flattens out in the back? Mr. Bach, was the deck at the pool, was that included in the?
That's our lot coverage, yes it is.
It is. So can you remind me, what's the interpretation now with decks?
We've already included that in our 37%.
Okay.
So we already included that, which is the interpretation of the EPA. Our understanding that it's a deck that has open openings and its area from beneath. The applicant's architect has been here on hearings before, he understands that interpretation. That's already included in 37 points.
In the adjustment.
The 37%.
So the lot coverage is actually coming down from 47.5 to 37.
Lot coverage, which is our definition, is any structure built on the land. That is going slightly down to, that has been reduced from 47.5 to 45.2. However, the impervious coverage, the coverage where groundwater cannot infiltrate into the ground, is being reduced from down to 37.4%. Where in essence, it was probably in the mid-40s.
Okay.
So overall, I believe this would be an improvement in terms of stormwater.
Great. And with regard to the side yard setback, it's already an existing situation, so.
But they're exacerbating it because they're
Of the
building
addition.
more wall there. So
Correct.
it is in line exactly with the existing side yard non-conforming that currently exists of 8.46.
Was this the application too that had the letter from the neighbor that said there's obviously no objection to
saw
it?
that in there.
Right. Okay.
And just to clarify too, that
We
obviously.
can't take that letter into consideration here, just because there's no one here with the letter.
Nobody can
be
cross-examined on that.
But to understand the hardship of if we were to not permit the addition to be flush with the current existing structure, it would generate what? A very unique layout.
Could I suggest we provide this usually, well, we always provide it over the letters on page 3 and 4, the C1 and C2 variance. C1 is really a hardship variance. C2, I think is more applicable here, that what is being proposed advances our goals and objectives for our master plan or ordinance or zone plan, and the benefits of what's being proposed substantially outweighs any detriments that I think that could be stated, and I don't provide testimony for the answer to the question,
Yep.
is that I think the C2 variance would be applicable here, and I believe with the decrease overall of stormwater, I believe they have definitely demonstrated by their application materials that the benefits will outweigh the detriments of the proposal.
Yep, I mean, the C1, you heard the argument with regard to we're aging in place and so forth. But Mr. Bach is absolutely right. C2 is really what is applicable here as far as if you choose to approve this application.
Any further questions, comments? Hearing none, we'll open this case up to the public for any public questions or comments. Come forward. Last chance. Seeing none, we'll close public participation and bring it back to the board for a possible motion.
I just have one more.
I'm sorry,
Mr.
Mike.
Bach, just number 1 on your comments says applicants shall confirm the height of the existing garage.
Thank you.
I'm sorry, what was it?
10 feet 6 inches.
Thank you.
I believe I already updated that information, I'm sorry.
No, I was just, that was my
Question
only.
on the grading plan, so to get that, I already have the company ready to do that. When that gets done and completed, comes back to you directly?
You submit the application through Suzanne. Suzanne then will do what Suzanne does so well, and then it'll get over to us, and we'll do what we do. And typically, if you have any questions or anything, wherever the professional, we try to work it out with the professional and get you through the process as expedient in this process.
Trying to get that as quickly as possible. So.
Understood.
Do you have any other questions or comments? You want to summarize up the possible approval?
Very sure, Mr. Chairman. Very simply, again, this is an application to approve construction of a 287 square foot, 1-story addition to the existing dwelling. There are 2 variances, along with all pervious pavement, replacing bituminous pavement. And again, there are 2 variances that we're looking for here. One is lot coverage, which Mr. Bach testified that actually with the pervious pavers, it actually is being slightly lowered, but there is a requirement of 30%, and the applicant is proposing 45.2%. 47.5 is what's existing out there.
The variance for the side yard setback, again, this is an exacerbation of a setback of 8.46 feet where 10 feet is required. And again, this is ameliorated by some of the other items that are being added to the property. Mr. Bach stated that C2 variance, should you choose to approve, would be more appropriate here in that it advances the purposes of municipal law and substantially outweighs any detriments.
Anybody like to make a motion to approve or disapprove the application at this point?
I'll move to approve the application. Looking at 8.46, a side yard setback where 10 feet is required, 45.2% lot coverage where 30% is required. And I base that on both C1 and C2 variance.
And this also includes the condition that the permeable pavers system be deferred to the grading review.
Correct. And we should also accept all other, are there other nonconformances that you picked up?
Yep.
Yeah.
The existing
Underside
non-conformities?
lot size,
Okay.
yes.
Anybody like to second the motion?
I'll second.
Any questions or comments, discussion on the motion? Seeing none, roll call, Suzanne, please.
Mayor Hauk,
Yes.
Councilwoman Herron,
Yes.
Chairman Hanson,
Yes?
Mr. Dukakis?
Yes.
Mr. Madden,
Yes.
Ms. Bonacorsi,
Yes.
and Mr. Schmidt.
Yes.
Motion passes. So I'll give you the caveat. Next month when we meet, we'll have, no, it's not really a caveat, but just a disclaimer. Next month when we meet, we'll do a resolution that memorializes the decision that was made this evening. Once that resolution is passed, the notice of that will be public. The notice of the decision will be published in the newspaper. From the point that that's published in the newspaper, somebody could technically appeal the decision that was made here this evening within 45 days of that. Seeing that nobody came here to object this evening, I'd say that's highly unlikely. But if you proceed with any construction, pulling permits or physical improvements before that time, before the appeal period expires, it would be at your own risk. I just want to make all the applicants aware of that when they come in. So good luck with your project. Thanks for coming in.
Thank you.
I think I'm a little past.
Doing it
Too old. I've repeated that enough times I can say it in my sleep. Okay, so the last two cases this evening both have use variance aspects, so we're going to let Zach and Steve be on their way because they can't participate in use applications. The next case we have this evening is case number 24-9-2P, and that's Sarah Allen.
Okay, perfect.
It is Sarah Allen, right? Okay. 107 10th Avenue, and that's block 45, lot 17. This is an addition, an enclosure on a garage for a living space. DNC variances, I believe, with at least, might just be a D variance. 107 or 92P, 107 10th Ave. I just want to make you aware that this is a use variance application, and we only have 5 voting members this evening because we have some absences. So with a use variance, and Michael will affirm this, it needs a supermajority vote, which means that out of 7 possible voting members, you have to have, whether you have 7, 6, or 5, you have to have 5 affirmative votes for the motion to pass. So if one person was to vote no, then the application would not be passed. Versus a typical application like the one you just heard only needs a majority no matter how many people vote on it. I'll let Michael
And what I will do is, and we'll do this for this next application as well, is after you're done your presentation and your application, I will canvass the board members to make sure everyone is comfortable with the application. If they're comfortable, I will then ask you, do you want to go forward with the vote? And you can make a decision from there.
Okay, we're going to have Mike swear you in now, and then we'll let you present your case.
Okay.
And Steve.
Miss Allen, you have with you tonight
My husband, Kevin
Kevin.
Caviston.
Can you spell the last name?
CAVISTON.
Ton. Thank you. And of course, Mr. Bach, our planner engineer, going to swear everybody in. Do you solemnly swear the testimony about to give us the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God? All are sworn for the record, Mr. Chairman. Mr. Chairman, I do find that the board has jurisdiction in this matter. Again, let the record reflect that we do have 5 members here.
Again, we need the super majority vote for the use variance, and that will be dealt with towards the end as far as the vote goes. Mr. Chairman, this is a application for both use and bulk variances to approve the construction of a 551 square foot, one-story addition to an existing 1.5 story residential dwelling, and a 220 square foot office addition to an existing attached garage at the residential property, which is located at the northeasterly side of 10th Avenue between Green Street and North Park Avenue. Again, we talked about the use variances for the office part of this application. And there is, I'm just looking for bulk. Is there a bulk on this?
Yes.
Yeah, there are.
Here, I'm sorry.
Several.
Yeah, here we go.
Steve-
I
Steve's-
apologize.
That's okay.
We have the side bulk or side yard setbacks. It's 10 feet where 8.88 feet are required. We have another side yard setback because of the aggregate side yard setback, which is an expansion of an existing non-conforming use. And I'm sorry, non-conformance, I apologize. And the applicant is also proposing accessory structure of approximately 480 feet where 450 feet is allowed. So a bulk variance for that is required as well. Ms. Allen and Mr. Keniston, I understand that is the application that's before us, is that correct? And why are you doing this application?
So we are doing well, actually, a year now.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
The glow is still there.
Hopefully, that's it. So we're looking to combine homes. We both have kids. We have 4 kids between 2 of us now, and we need just that elbow room at this point. So, when I bought that house, it's a beautiful street, lovely area. We want to stay here. 4 kids through high middle and high school now. So what we're really looking to do is just extend the house with the existing footprint out. And then our garage has a bit of an overhang, which we'd like to enclose. So we really just need, we have, actually, could you stand up and understand? So we have 3 about this size, and then another 3 my size. And so we need that space. And so the best way to do that was to go out and then have that garage have a remote office space and a back room for the people that size to come home from softball, deck hockey, and baseball, and shower, and then in the house. In hopes that we can blend this family forever.
And keep the stench outside. The office, who will be using the office besides? And what kind of business would that be?
Well, I work for Citibank.
Okay. So it's a work at home?
It's a remote office.
Remote office.
I'm in the office 2 to 3 days a week. I work.
And your job involves just typing away at a computer like I do all day? Yeah. Okay.
And you get to visit us too.
Yes, I do. They let me out of my pen every once in a while.
And we got to see him and meet and show you what we need.
Mr. Chairman, at this point, I think Mr. Bach,
Like I said,
It'd be appropriate to go
so
through
you're
Steve's
also-
letter, probably.
You're not proposing to operate a business at your home, it's a home office for personal use. The bathroom, you provided information that it's for the use of the residents of the primary dwelling. Will there be any proposal for sleeping or anything in sorry, but it will not be used for any residential quarters, meaning for overnight sleeping or anything like that, and that should be reflected in the resolution.
Somebody gets in the doghouse.
We did provide a review of September 12th. We do note several existing nonconformities as well as what's being proposed as relief this evening. Minimum lot size in the R2 zone is 12,000 square feet, existing is 10,000 square feet. And also we note that minimum lot width is 50 feet where 60 feet is required in the zone. Mr. Herbert, I believe you said maximum lot coverage in the variances. I just want to repeat it though.
Yep.
45.21 percent is proposed and 30% is max allowable in the zone. And then also we have other outbuildings existing non-conformity in the rear yard. Again, we just want to go for the record, we're 49 existing for the built structure, 5 feet required. We do provide, Mr. Harper will take you through this, but we do provide on page 3 of 5 consideration for the board in terms of justification for use variances for that Mr. Herbert. We're going to ask for some clarification from the professional in terms of the exact corner. There was 2 different dimensions on the application materials. But I don't believe it will affect, so that's just one of the review comments on page 4 or 5. You will be required to submit a grading plan in accordance with the borough ordinances. In terms of the maximum lot coverage, you are proposing 43.65%, maximum 30% is required. Unfortunately, there's no records of any of the additional impervious areas that have been provided over the years. So it is a typical matter, of course, in terms of recommendation. Even though this is not a major development in terms of stormwater, mitigating factor for the relief of the variance that you would be asking for is to provide a on-site infiltration of the difference between the 45.21% and the 30%. And this is only for what is considered the water quality storm, which is less than a 2-year storm. But it is the storm that typically contributes to runoff pollution to all the streams in downstream areas. So I believe that would be an appropriate mitigating factor if the applicant is willing to do that in terms of granting the relief for the coverage of 45.21%. That can be done and signed through the grading plan. Suzanne has if you don't have a professional, Suzanne could also direct you to other professionals that have successfully performed and prepared similar grading plans and stormwater calculations. Typically,
So you guys understand with the grading plan, you have to have certain mitigating structures in there that handle the runoff. Is that, you understand that? You have no problem with that?
and then the only last one is just when you submit the grading plan, unless you know already, just a scale of individual plans, just so we have it on the record with the application materials. So this is a use variance to permit, and Mr. Harper, you want to take it from here?
Yeah, and this is a use variance which requires that you prove the negative and, I'm sorry, the positive and negative criteria. And really what we always look for is special reasons. What about this office makes it uniquely appropriate for this situation? And I think I heard you testify already. This is just, it's a normal home occupation where which many people in the town work from home. They work from a bedroom is converted to an office. Similar situations like that. That's what I'm hearing from you. This is just a room with a desk and a computer and appropriate Wi-Fi. Is that correct? And it's meant to do nothing more. You're not going to be selling any products out of there. You're not going to be doing any light manufacturing, creating things.
Ideally, I'll spend as little time in there as possible.
And that's what many people use their basements for this. They use their attics. They use spare bedrooms and so forth. So that's the argument for your special reasons, unless Mr. Bach.
And then also just add in that they're asking for the full bath also as part of that.
Right. And the bath is, again, it's being used as an office instead of you having whenever, you're drinking that very large iced coffee, and instead of having to go to the house all the time, they can use that bathroom there. Bathroom can also be used as part of the general use of the house by your beautiful blended family, as I think a current politician talks about. The negative criteria is there a negative impact upon your neighbors and the public in general? Have you been able to talk to your neighbors about what you're trying to do? Is there anyone that has told you that they're objecting to it at all? Or?
We haven't heard any objections. We've had a number of large larger renovations on that same block recently. So, they've been very supportive. And also, I think it's not more than the existing structure out there, so it shouldn't change anything for them, at least the garage portion much.
You're really just enclosed in the open area of the porch, it looks like, correct?
Exactly.
So,
And they stipulated it's not going to be used for any residential dwelling purposes.
It's just a gym and an office and shower.
But I do have a question, but so if we approve this goes with the land, right?
Yes.
So they sell the house in 5 years, somebody comes in and says, oh, I got a mother-in-law suite, I just have to convert the garage to a living residence, correct?
That's why we
So-
have to stipulate it in the
Yeah.
resolution very specifically.
Very specifically.
and the,
then with
Correct.
the current protections, I should say, that our borough has in terms of change of occupancy, I believe that would be picked up during an inspection, because I believe we do CO inspections now.
Yes, but it's only exterior, it's not interior.
so
Then if it goes inside.
another way to enforce it is just to have the resolution placed, have it recorded as part of any, as you would with a deed or something like that. I mean, it's up to you.
That's something the applicant is willing to do, just if you're successful, just whatever the approval is this evening, just record the approval, so anyone doing a deed search.
It's there.
Even though you're never gonna sell the house, and you'll be here forever, but if it ever does happen, it would show up in terms of that this structure is limited, I think that's.
And the county clerk's office can assist you in doing that if you're trying to do it yourself. Any attorney can, not any attorney, any real estate attorney can do it.
I will disagree with you on that one. The county clerk's office is very limited in terms of what advice it can give.
Sure, that is correct.
So I'm the deputy county clerk. I'm telling you, we get this all the time. You're going to have to prepare the documents and have them submitted to us. We're not going to be able to prepare the documents for you.
No, and I apologize if I sounded like I was saying that. I mean, there are ways to do it. You can consult with an attorney, do your own research. I know that your website does have some forms and things on it that they can assist as well.
Yes.
Well, it's probably a little bit more custom than their standard.
Yeah, this is-
So, you
I'm going to say,
consult an attorney.
I would consult with him, yeah.
Say, please report it, there's cover sheets and everything else.
Yeah.
So you would agree to that?
Yeah, we're on board with that.
Does that address Mr. Cox?
Feel better.
And that's why we brought up the concern.
Yeah, no.
So if they were to sell it, there would then be a title search. The title search would show the resolution.
And that would be, meaning, just so I'm clear, the resolution would say what exactly?
That you cannot use that for residential purposes.
It'll list all the terms and conditions of your approval.
That's
for
what I
life.
thought, I just wanted to.
Yeah,
No,
I mean,
it's a good question.
with the borough has a stipulation, there's no two residences on the same lot, so you understand that.
That's what I thought you were.
Yeah, you would not be able to get a COO, if you were to transfer it anyway. No.
Basically, it's to memorialize the decision that you wouldn't be able to use it for habitate or some, as a second, for a second
In-law
residence,
suite.
basically, in-law suite.
Until they
You would have to come back to the board for
This
further
actually
use
works out really
variance.
well, because we also don't want our in-laws in there.
Yeah.
Just show 'em the pa- just show 'em the paper. Yeah.
Nor any of our children.
Understood.
For longer than they should.
There's no kitchen there.
I would email them the resolution highlighted if it gets approved.
oh, it's on YouTube up here.
They're lovely, they're wonderful. Just
But-
want them to have those-
I just have one question for the office, and I don't know if it was asked, but I think I know the answer. You don't plan on having clients out there or anyone? Okay, right.
So that doesn't really rise to the level of a home occupation.
It really
quote,
doesn't,
then.
no,
Okay.
it's a home office.
It's
Yep.
really just a quiet space. Right.
Okay.
Understood.
There's 6 of them.
Yeah. Everyone needs that after COVID.
We're really excited about planning.
Oh,
I think Michael's got a tear in his eye over here.
Well, I'm part of a blended family as well, so.
Does anybody have any further questions or comments before we open it to the public? Seeing none, we'll open this hearing to the public. Anybody want to speak on this application or ask any questions, come forward. Seeing none, we'll close public, bring it back to the board for a potential vote. Steve, you don't have anything further?
I have nothing further.
shoot, so would vote on D variance first and then C variances?
We vote on
You vote on it all together.
Okay.
C variances would be subsumed in the use variance, right?
Now,
Before I go ahead and just lay this out, does any board member have any issues with regard to this application? Understanding the need for 5 votes. Everybody's okay? Because if anyone was uncomfortable, what I would tell you is, let's go ahead and adjourn, and come back when we have 6 or 7 here. But I'm hearing from the board members that no one has much of an issue, not that they're predicting their final vote, but at least you can hear what's going on. Okay, so this is a application, again, to construct a 551 square foot, 1-story addition to an existing 1.5-story residential dwelling and a 220 square foot office addition to the existing attached garage. There is also a bathroom involved in that as well. The property requires several variances, including a use variance for the, what is really, I guess, a home office as part of the garage structure, which will not be used as a dwelling, which will not be used for dwelling purposes, with the condition that the resolution be recorded, showing that, that condition. There are also some bulk variances. We talked about lot coverage. We're here, we've got 45.21%, where 30% is required. The applicant has agreed to submit with a grading plan, various water quality, stormwater amelioration structures that will be reviewed and approved by Mr. Bach's office. A variance is also required for side yard setback. Here it is 8.88 feet, where 10 feet is required. Variance is also required because this variance, for both variants, because this is an expansion of a existing nonconformity with regard to the aggregate side yard setback of where it's 23.79 feet, and 25 feet is required. Also, the applicant is proposing accessory structure of approximately 480 square feet, where 450 feet is required. Again, you heard the standards for the C variance with regard to a C2, in that it fits in with the general land use purposes of the site. And of course, the use variance for the office. Again, this is really an office that most people now have in their own homes as part of either a hybrid situation or working from home. And therefore, there are some unique circumstances here. And again, you also heard testimony with regard to the negative criteria that there's not a negative impact upon the neighbors nor the public's health, safety, and welfare.
Mr. Rupert, if I could just
Please.
supplement, I would suggest that the side yard setback be approved, considered as 8.72. 8.88 was on the application materials. I believe it's probably 8.72. So I would like to give that.
You got it. I appreciate the edification. Okay. Board members, the matter is now appropriate for a motion, with Mr. Chairman's permission.
Anybody like to make a motion to approve or disapprove the application?
You had it all laid out, you know.
Oh, man, okay. All right, so I moved to approve the D variance portion of the application with the stipulation that the applicant will file a deed restriction for, is that a deed restriction?
It's not, it's just a recording.
Recording of the resolution indicating that the enhancement will not be used for residential property. Also, C variances, 45.21% lot coverage, where 30% required, 8.72 feet side yard setback, where 10 feet is required, 23.79 foot aggregate side yard aggregate setback, where 25 feet is required, 480 square feet accessory building, where 450 square feet is required, and also reflect other nonconformities of undersized lot size and width, and also the rear yard setback at 0.98 feet, where 5 is required.
Great job.
Thank you.
Very
And all
good.
the conditions of the engineer's review.
And of course, all the site, right.
Everything in Mr. Bach's letter.
Yes.
And I'll second that.
Any questions or comments on the motion? Seeing none, roll call, Suzanne?
Sure. Chairman Hanson,
Yes.
Mr. Dukakis,
Yes.
Mr. Madden,
Yes.
Ms. Bonaccorsi. Yes. And Mr. Smith.
Yes.
Motion passes. You heard my spiel about the appeal period for the prior application. That'll apply to you as well. So congratulations.
Good luck.
Good luck on your project.
Congratulations and much patience bestowed upon you.
Okay. Final case this evening is case number 24-9-3P, Antares Property Management LLC, 1500 Kings Highway, Block 30, Lot 1. And it's a use variance application for 3 uses at the property.
I will have, I'm Matt Foley, represent Terrace Property Management. I will have 2 witnesses.
All right, again, the attorney, you're Matt
Matt Foley.
Foley. My Irish side would be mad at me if I didn't pick that right up. And with you today, who are your 2 witnesses?
John Penty.
Can we spell that last name?
OCHIPINTI.
And
And Trenta.
Ann, A-N-N? Okay, we're also swearing in Mr. Bach. Lady and gentlemen, do you solemnly swear testimony about to give us the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God? Are sworn. Mr. Chairman, I do find the board's jurisdiction in this matter. Again, this is a reminder. This is a use variance application, so there's a required 5 votes. And just like the last application, we'll do a caucus at the end to see if everyone's comfortable moving forward with the vote.
If I may, I'd just like to do a brief introduction. We're having,
Floor's yours, Matt.
This property originally was a dairy plant, and it was rezoned back in 1990 for residential R4, which is the current zone. The building has been a window factory, it's housed a brewery, automotive tuning or improvement shop for cars, as well as a sign business, among other things over the years. Nature of the building is inconsistent with residential use, and Antares, giving Antares a lot of difficulty finding new tenants for the building to keep it filled up. The master plan does call for this property at 1500 Kings Highway, along with a few adjacent properties, to be rezoned as commercial. And this use variance is very much in the spirit of what the master plan wants or suggests that this property should go. The uses that we'd like a variance for, the first is a ballet studio, which is currently just down the street there, Cooper River Ballet, which would like to relocate to the space. The second is just storage for businesses, just to keep equipment there, no hazardous materials or food, just a place to kind of store equipment to access from time to time, not on a daily basis. And also a small office space for 2-3 people, not designed for customers to come in, but just for people who want office space, not like the previous applicants, to use for an office space nearby. And with that, I would like to have Mr. Penty speak. Is it okay if I do have questions for him?
Absolutely. Yeah, it's your witness, so it would be appropriate for you to directly examine your witness. But again, as you know, the requirements that you would have in court are much looser here. You can ask the questions any which way you'd like.
Yes, I will do them as expeditiously as possible.
Great.
So, all right. Good evening, John. How are you doing? And you're the owner of Antares Property Management? Yes, I am. Okay. And can you tell me just your history with the building and why you want or looking for use variance?
Sure. I purchased the property in 2016, came before this board for use variances then for the brewery, light manufacturing, and the performance shop that was in there. I was there for 7 years, and business grew, and I could no longer sustain there. So I moved to a larger property with acreage where I could expand to my needs. So I've maintained the building, kept up on taxes until just recently. And I'm looking to occupy the building. It was vacant for 4 years before I bought it. So I don't want it to be vacant in your town. I put tenants in there. So our intention is to keep along the lines of what I was doing. I had my offices there, I had storage there, and I had light manufacturing. Just looking to have the official approval for storage and offices, which I thought were inherent with my light manufacturing as I needed those to run my business. So, but apparently they're not officially approved as use variances. So that's what I'm requesting tonight.
And can you describe, what was the brewery business that was there?
There was an independent brewery that was there, 4 partners, and they made beer on the property, sold it in the tasting room, and unfortunately they weren't able to sustain the business, and they closed their doors about a year ago. Before I moved out of the building, they closed their doors already.
And what period of time were they there?
They moved in when I did in 2017, and moved out last year.
Okay. And when you moved in, was that your business that operated out there?
I did my main business. I moved in there and worked there myself every day.
And what was your business? What would that involve?
It was light manufacturing, storage, shipping, and receiving. We do trade shows, museum displays, special events, and all around the country and actually in the world.
Mayor said
7 times. So pretty nice business, but again, we got to move the town, unfortunately, to visit the building and couldn't find anything else within town limits that suited us. So I'm on 26 acres in Glasgow now.
And how many employees and trucks did you have?
I had a dozen employees, up to 15, depending on how busy we were, and same amount of vehicles, personal vehicles, and then we had trucks that would come and go to load and unload all of our properties for all the trade shows and events.
Okay. And how about the brewery? How many employees?
Brewery had 4 owners, a couple of bartenders that would work a couple days a week. They were there, I believe, 5 nights a week from 4 or 5 p.m. until maybe 10 p.m.
So did it have a tap room?
There was testing, yes, station was good.
Were there other businesses that occupied the building at this time?
Only the performance shop that was there for the first year that we were there, and then he kind of closed his doors after that.
Okay. Roughly what did the performance shop do?
They did lifts on vehicles and exhaust upgrades and things of that nature. It wasn't oil changes and transmission rebuilds, it was just performance.
And did you just describe what uses you'd like variance for?
As I stated, I'd just like to have the ability to put storage points in there legally with a lease and office space as well. I've had several approach me that were looking for space, a couple businesses that were in town, want to stay in town, and we're looking for some office space and some storage.
Okay. What kind of storage?
I have one that is a historian, and he salvages old windows and wood frames and different things from buildings, and he repurposes them, and that's interested in moving in. And I have another one that is a caterer who does not do any food at all on premises. All he does is his equipment and his supplies, all whatever we call it, no food, no drinks, nothing like that at all, just equipment. Nothing is cleaned on site, nothing is managed on site. It is put there and taken out. That is, nothing else occurs. There's no full-time employees. As he's telling me, this all he's doing is he would put stuff in and he would take stuff out. That's it. So that is one of the potential tenants that I have.
And for the third proposed use, what's that?
Third is Dance Studio, Mr. Trenka, who is in town currently and is looking to relocate. She's losing her lease and needs to move, and is looking for a long-term lease. She wants to stay in town. She's happy here, and would make some improvements to the space, adding appropriate dance flooring and mirrors and things for her students.
Now, in response to Mr. Bach's letter, I'm just going to go through some topics. One is, what's the total square footage of the building?
Neighborhood 22,500,
Okay, and then, for the dance studio, how many square feet?
about 2,000,
2,000. And, for the apartment, how many square feet is that?
1,400.
Or I believe you describe it as a mechanic section.
Yeah, where the mechanic was, it's about 2,000, so that is one potential storage area.
Okay, and then, for Lucy Brewing,
Used about 4,200 square feet, another potential storage area.
okay, and then you have, a shop area.
There are two main areas in the shop, both about 5,000 square feet each, both for potential storage.
Okay. And then, how about the office space?
Couple of areas, about 500 square feet each.
Okay.
All would have separate entrances except the storage, they share entrances, and depending on the potential tenants, I would, wall off or fence off areas for them, the ones that are about potentially moving in, are concerned about that for security or any other reason. So, as needed or as required by any variance, I would do that.
Okay. And are there bathrooms in the building?
There are, yes.
And how many bathrooms?
There are 6 bathrooms. The dance studio would have its own bathroom. The others are in these storage spaces.
And you talked about this a little bit, but what types of items are you proposing to store on the site?
Non-hazardous, no chemicals, no fluids, no off-gassing, nothing at all, just pieces of equipment.
And how would it be accessed?
Uh, Once a day, maybe, a couple times a week. I mean, it varies on what their needs are. But it's not there would be no employees that would be in the building full time. It's not that kind of a story.
And, how about parking? How many spaces are in the building now?
There are currently 20, and I believe Ann has said that she would need about 5 spaces. Most of her parents drop off and pick up. She has several employees, but I think 5 is her needs. Storage clients, 1 to 2 spots each, from time to time. Again, there will be no full-time employees in the building for any of the storage clients. Offices, 2 to 3 employees, so, if there's 1 or 2 office spaces allotted, then it would be, up to 4 or 5 spaces for that.
Okay. And, what about expected employees and customers accessing the site? Could you speak about that?
Yes, again, it'll just be on a as-needed basis for the storage clients, normal business hours, and the dance studio has specific hours that they do change from summer to winter, but they are to be documented. We can share that information, and it's just our employees and up to 5 employees.
I have 1 teacher, part-time, can't do it all. The other 2 spaces, I have a couple of students who are seniors who drive. Other than that,
And how about replacing existing signage? What do you anticipate doing? with that?
So I would say for Ann, we would do signage on the front by the road and on the side by the door where there's existing signage. I would not increase any signage or add anything. I would just replace existing signs from businesses that are no longer there.
All right, and then, again, going back, the hours of operation for each business, you can let Ann answer for hers. What do you expect from the storage and the office
9 to
space?
5 for offices, storage. I wouldn't expect anything outside of that.
And I'll say, Ann, what do you expect from the hours?
currently, because most of my students are in school. I teach high riding studio now 2:30, and I teach from 4:14 until 7:30 or 8, each other school day. Saturdays I'm there from 9:30 to 4:30. When we have performance going up, the rehearsals will be Sunday. That's the school year. In the summers, I run an intensive summer, we call it summer camp, it's an intensive summer dance program. And for 6 weeks in the summer, I 2 weeks off in the beginning of the summer, 2 or 3 weeks off at the end, but in the middle of the summer, 6 weeks out, 9:30 to 3:30. Okay. This year, a couple of those days, about 5 o'clock, but it's different scheduling. My classes, I have about 40 in the school. My classes are usually no more than 10 at a time. The biggest influx of people is when the classes change. And it's just pick up.
And then John, what are the type and number of frequency times of vehicles accessing the site?
And I think and just hook to her in and out. Storage would be once, twice a day at the most, I would think, for any given storage time. I mean, they're putting their things there for storage. It's not an everyday use facility.
And then what types of vehicles?
Personal vehicles, the one potential caterer would use a 12-foot or a 26-foot box truck, which when I was there, we were using box trucks every day, every week, and 53-foot tractor trailers were in and out of there for my business as well. So a 12-foot box truck, a 26-foot box truck is a reduction in what I was doing. And he would eat maybe 2 to 3 times a week max.
And how about refuse and recycling? How do you propose
We've
handling
not
that?
generated by any of them. If it was required, I would put a dumpster on site, but I don't anticipate necessarily a need for one. And
I put out one bag of paper towels in the back of each week. We don't make trash, we don't have food, we don't take towels or wrappers, but I take home any bottles of water that needs recycling, I take to my own recycling. I take the trash home, it's not a big deal.
John, how about any possible condition of hazards, fumes,
Zero.
noxious noise, anything?
No.
And we don't take out music.
And noise complaints that gated community.
There's also a question about the gated area in the rear of the building. There's a chain link fence and a rear gate.
Right.
Will those be locked or left open?
They are. There is a lock already on the chain link fence, and today I installed a lock on the wood gate, so both gates are locked in the back.
And then how about the lighting and suitability on the site, the suitability of lighting?
Sure, the lighting on the exterior of the building has been upgraded to an energy efficient LED light. And, there's ample lighting throughout the parking areas.
Okay. And then with the paving around the building, are you willing to repair that?
Absolutely, I contacted a contractor already, and I'm meeting him for an estimate.
So what's the name of that company?
It is,
Is it United Paving?
it is United Paving, yes.
All right, and how about the exiting driveway apron?
We're looking at that as well.
And that's something you'd be willing to repair?
Yes,
And then there's a note about existing debris on the site.
it's been removed, or it's being removed out of there today. I found it's not my debris, it was dumped there. I tracked it down, I have cameras on the site, I found out who it was, chased them down, I had them out there this afternoon. So it's being removed.
And I just have a few questions about Ann's business. So what is your business, Ann?
It's a classical ballet studio for school, I'm a Paula studio, it's more like a conservatory. My students go to our conservatory, they go to the ballet theater, they go to Philadelphia Ballet, and try to come. I teach injury prevention, I also teach Pilates, and I'm doing it for 35 years, I've been a master, and I have some Pilates equipment. But that's the other hour, sometimes in the morning, 2 or 3 mornings a week, I will see a private client on Pilates equipment between 9 and 10. So the equipment would go in a separate room from the ballet studio.
And then where are you located?
Right now, I'm at 516 Station Avenue, and we did 5.5 years ago in April, and it's breaking my heart that I have to leave. I love my time in the studio. I have students who travel from as far as Swedesboro and Trenton, but a majority of my students are reasonably local. It's a wonderful community. They're great kids, they're great families. I enjoy being in this area, and I enjoy the studio very much. Great things happen here. So I'll just say that it's very difficult to find space for what I do. I'm in a large enough area with enough ceiling height, something I can afford as well. So finding a new studio is always a big problem. And the fact that I can find one within these environments is fantastic. Everywhere.
Yeah, and why are you leaving your
I'm leaving, well, my lease was not renewed, my lease is up in April, and I was told that I had 6 months, which goes to October 1st. We tried to make this application earlier, and it didn't work. I think he's willing to give me another month. It's sort of, they're selling the building, it's for sale. a restaurant or just plain sell the building. But I do need to move, and I have 35 to 40 students registered who are, starting our semester the day after Labor Day. I was hoping to do it before Labor Day, but we can manage it. But it involves moving not just here to the entire front floor covering. There's a lot of other stuff we have to do. And I can do that now, but it's always difficult to find and identify a new student space. And this seems to work quite well. And it's also
And then, just my last question is, what do you propose like doing to the space?
We would be deconstructing, taking down one non-weight bearing material wall that is just to make the dance floor bigger. Also taking down a false, I would call it a false wall. It's a demonstration.
It's a soffit.
Okay, and they used to hang windows from it to show, and it's just been plain. Part of the studio has a 20, it's sort of like this bigger, a little bit higher, and it needs to be painted, cleaned, painted. The upstairs has carpet, which I would see would later replace. A little bit of deconstruction up there for some buildings. The upstairs would be used for Pilates work and custom storage and the bathroom. Then I have to move into the front floor. My floor is not the top rate. I wish it was. They wanted about $40,000 to do my studio. I found this product. It is a tongue and groove fiberboard product, a very thick hard rubber on the bottom that has worked very well for us. And I cover it with a Marlin floor, which is the state of the art. Every dance company uses it. It's a non-stick protected floor. I clean it at least 3 times a week, which appears every day. Anyway, I would have to have this floor, hopefully, this time of year, I would have to get the floor installed. The mirrors have to be twice. The mirror first, you have to leave dots and dots. Hoping to keep things in it's just, that's what I did. Sorry.
That's great. John, I just have one last question. The outside of the building, this use variance doesn't really require any changes. I don't have anything, if you have questions, we'd be eager to answer them.
We want to go through Steve's letter and questions before we open it to the board.
What was the overall square footage of the building?
22,500.
So the application materials indicated 1,520 square foot of storage total. And then 15,200. I'm just reading the numbers. So that's what I'm trying to get the numbers. So, and then 2,000 square feet would be the dance studio, and then we could say the remaining would be the office. Office and the apartment.
The apartment's 1,400.
1,400 square feet.
And the remaining is office and, I don't consider hallways and different things like that part of the storage.
Office and
Common rooms?
circulation.
Non-usable, yeah, sure.
And circulation.
Common area.
But you're comfortable with 15,200 square feet of storage space? The 2,000 square feet for the dance studio, and you said 1,000 square feet for the office? Sure. Okay. In terms of the storage space, you provided testimony that it would be 4 storage spaces.
Potentially, yes.
So you're comfortable with 4 being the delineation of the storage spaces? And I'm leaving you because storage for small business could be a self-storage facility. So we're trying to make sure that is not what the intent is.
There's no intent to open a self-storage facility.
So 4, it would be divided, 15,000 would be divided.
If I can have
A maximum of-
range 4 to 6, I could divide those large areas into small.
That's why we're asking these questions.
I would not in any way put in 10 by 10 spaces.
It's your application. I just want to make sure we
Yes,
have an
yes.
understanding.
No intention to go that direction.
So it'd be 4 to 6 total spaces. You indicated for small business. Small business with that, so storage for small business, but no businesses would operate out of
Correct.
that space.
So let's say an HVAC company is interested in storing their sheet metal goods there. They would drop them off there?
That is my concern.
Okay,
So
if that's the one that needs to be.
that's not a storage, that's, this has already been subdivision, but when I heard this, previous application for the board. Would you be willing to say, storage would not be, construction-related storage? For, general contractors?
General contractors, that's
Or
right.
contractors, HVAC, plumbing, or.
Concrete.
People that would be coming and going at all hours of the day, every day,
I'm
right?
very comfortable saying
In
that.
other words, in the industry, there's flex storage space that many contractors use as really their home base coming and going. They don't have an office there. Nobody is operating with cell phones, but they're really running a contracting business out of there. So it would be nothing to do with contracting, and I'm asking for some arguments or whatever on how to say this better. Contracting,
Yeah, I would just say cannot be used for contracting businesses.
I think contracting.
Building contractor.
Contractor,
Building
heavy
contractor.
construct, or construction trade.
Wasn't there also,
Yeah.
I mean, is there,
Concrete or anything.
No, we just don't want, I mean, I think the board's concern is gonna be trucks coming and going at 6:30 in the morning, picking up
Right,
daily
that's what I
supplies
was
and
about to
upsetting the
Like,
neighbors.
HVAC contractor doesn't necessarily have an office, but they need the building to
Space.
put all their stuff in, and they're actually running a business out of it. So it wouldn't be running any business out of there using it for storage purposes and no storage purposes for contracting.
Fair enough.
right, and I think you said with respect to the storage, I'm not talking about the dance studio, but with respect to the storage, I think there was testimony that it was 9 to 5 for the storage. That was kind of the hours that you were, the testimony that, I mean, the previous application, we had concerns about the truck coming in at 5 in the morning, you know, or later at night.
So we say, what are normal
What are normal
hours? We have any, we don't have any normal hours in the nights, do we? What would you be willing to agree to in terms of your leasing
Restrictions for the leases.
for the actual accessing of the storage areas?
I would say that 9 to 5 might be a little restricted. I would.
That's why I was bringing it up.
And thank you. I think maybe 8 AM is a reasonable time, and 6 PM cutoff, something like that, 8 to 6 access. I'd be comfortable with that, and I think most storage clients would have no reason to want to go in and outside of it.
And again, I'm not talking about the dance studio. I know you
Yeah,
had
of
separate.
course, separate hours.
This is related to the storage use.
Yeah.
Germane to the storage use.
Yeah, I'm very comfortable with it, if you want to go 8 to 6, and I'll have that in every lease, absolutely.
So let me ask you, with respect to the storage use, do you actually have tenants right now that are going, that
I have-
you're ready to sign a lease with
Yeah.
for this property?
There are a couple that want to sign leases.
Okay, so with respect to those leases, what's the storage? I think you mentioned there was something with respect
I have one
to,
that's a caterer.
okay, yeah, the caterer.
He is not there every day, and he's not there on off hours.
Right, you
know,
talked about him.
Before 8 or after 6, without me doing that. And he would be, and I talked to him today, he said if I have a truck there, a box truck, 12 or 26, nothing larger, and not more than 2 or 3 times a week, is what he would do.
And your property can handle like the box truck, the 26-footer coming in, K-turning and
I
not being,
had 53 footers coming in there with extended cabs, sleeper cabs coming in there when I was working out there. I have 26-foot box trucks in and out all the time. They can back up very easily to the side overhead door of the property.
It's pretty wide there.
Will you be willing to, and I believe this might be a reaffirmation, to limit it to box trucks and the tractor trailers and businesses?
Sure.
Yeah, I don't believe you were, under your previous approvals, I don't think you were supposed to have tractor.
Yeah,
trailers.
that was
But-
the issue.
But if it's, I would ask.
I
that
wasn't
that-
aware there was a restriction, but I have no
That's
problem
okay.
putting that restriction in.
It's not an issue anymore. And then, so we talked about 4 to, up to 6 storage, access from the exterior, they're all going to share access.
There are multiple entrances that I can section
Right,
off.
so I don't want to restrict that. I don't want to restrict that. And if there's a door that's more convenient to the main drive aisle for one of the units, I just want to say, you're not proposing any exterior access changes. on the
None
interior.
whatsoever.
Can I ask where the exterior access is for the dance studio compared to storage?
Sure, it's on the side of the building, as you pull in the parking lot, it's the first door on the right. The storage areas would start at the first overhead door, then there's a man door after that. And then around the back, there's another overhead door, another man door, and another overhead door. And all that around there is.
So there's separation between the
There
the
is.
dance studio for little kids coming in and out of there versus a
Several
truck.
parking spots before that, yes.
So is it fair to say that in this photo, and then I'll circulate it, is, this is going to be the dance studio?
That's
door?
correct.
But we do shutter windows, it would be all.
Yes.
Yep.
And with your permission, I'll give this the door.
The old window factory entrance.
Correct.
Yeah.
Yeah, where the
So
windows
sadly,
are,
we could just pass it down.
in
So
in the front of the side.
Yeah.
it's the,
But
it's the
dance-
front,
Dance
it's not
Dance
the
studio.
front one, Kings Highway, but it's the very first door.
First door.
I noticed he was in the back.
This one.
Right, right. There is another door in the front of the building where the paved area now,
Right.
pavers, and that would be one of the office entrances separate from the dance studio.
Right, so the dance studio is here.
The front.
And it's my understanding there, and just for the board's information and the public's information, there's already site improvements required under previous approvals for when you were operating your business there. There is a walkway area, there are buffer stops adjacent to that dance studio door.
We required all that back in 16 when we heard this.
There's a handicap spot there.
I remember I was on the board then.
In terms of trash, your previous approvals, you had all the trash in the interior except for a construction dumpster that was all the way up and around the back. Would you be willing to do a trash enclosure with whatever receptacles are appropriate for your use? And are you proposing to have, use the borough facilities, I should say drag, horrible usage word, and borough trash collection, or are you going to have a dumpster for your proposed tenants?
I'll add a dumpster for the tenants.
And you would do a trash enclosure that would be accessible at all times for trash collection? Because if you put it in the back where you have your construction dumpster, that's going to be locked, fenced area.
Well, we had it locked, that's where we had it locked and fenced in, and the recycling company would come and remove it, they had access through the gate. And then the tenants would all have access to the back property as well for the.
So you could put the dumpster in the back there, but how would you would make arrangements with whoever is removing that and have access?
Absolutely.
Okay.
That's how we had done it before.
All right.
We had it in the parking lot previously, in the back in one of the spots, and too many random people were dumping in it, so we put it behind the fence.
Is that dumpster in that dumpster location at all visible from the adjacent county park?
No, there is enough shrubbery and trees all along the fence line there.
There's all existing vegetation in the area that
I can't see the farm.
Can't see anything.
That's my understanding as well. I just want to point it out. So if they do put the dumpster in the back, in the fenced-in area, then it wouldn't have to necessarily have a trash enclosure. It should be out of the way. We noted vehicles and some C boxes on the site, or any of them on your property.
No.
Okay. All right, just want to make sure that they're not on your property. If they are on your property, you would remove them.
Yes.
Okay.
Well, there's a trailer on my property, I don't know whose it is, so I took a little picture of the license plate today, so I can find out who that is. So there's things on the property, that I'm trying to go by there and keep it, unoccupied, but again, that trash showed up. I wasn't aware of it until I received your letter and saw the trash, and today it's having it removed.
So what is going to be the use of the fenced-in area in the rear of the building? Is there going to be any use of that fenced-in
I
area?
don't anticipate any currently, potential storage of a vehicle maybe, but I don't anticipate anything like that.
So your application doesn't indicate that you're using it for any
No,
commercial purposes?
I'm not requesting that at this time.
Right, so no storage of any other vehicles, no, the fenced-in area would not be as part of any storage for the small businesses that we just described?
Yeah.
There'll be no equipment or anything else in that outside fence there.
Not under this application, if that comes
Not
up in
under
the
this
future,
application,
we would
right.
do it at that
Right.
appropriate time.
There, and I haven't been back there in a while, are there still the walkways and all the other,
The deck was all removed, the walkways were removed.
That is all
Any
been
anticipation of the previous potential buyers, that was all removed.
so all that, those individual walkways and everything else has been removed? So I do refer the board and the applicant to the public for a September 12, 2024 review. I believe we have elicited testimony from the applicant for all the questions that I was asking. They've already agreed for the restoration or the repair of the paving areas in the front, the front
Apron?
concrete apron that'll be concrete.
Yes. So Steve, I have a quick question about, so the Kings Highway construction,
Yes.
what are they doing curbs as well?
Yes.
I think-
Very well could be. I would actually suggest the applicant actually contact me because I have the plans. And I'll tell you if they're doing the apron. If the county Kings Highway paving project is already anticipating replacing that apron, then that would meet that condition. Otherwise, the applicant would be required.
Okay, that's
Is there a schedule or timeframe for that?
soon.
Starting next week.
Okay, all right. So,
Yes.
very good.
I just want to come back to the trash enclosure.
Yeah.
I'm concerned that you're gonna have a locked fenced in area and you're gonna have trash from the dance studio, definitely trash from the offices.
No, excuse me, I'm sorry. She would take her own.
I don't make any trash. There is no trash. We don't have product, we don't have trash. Paper towels from the bathroom.
If there was another dance studio that made trash, I'm not saying you're
Okay.
making trash. I'm
Fair
just
enough.
saying,
Fair
we're
enough.
going with the use and the use rights of the land.
Okay.
Is there any way that you could do, maybe right off of that fenced area, because you do have room there now that those materials have been removed,
Mhm.
an area that would be accessible to the tenants on a regular basis and for a removal facility, again, not requiring site plan or anything else, but 6-foot high PVC fence with whatever trash you want to put in there, and that way we know trash can always be in one location and not end up in a dumpster.
Okay. There are also dumpsters I can get that have a bar and a lock on them, and I can get the tenants all access that way.
Well, if you put a dumpster out that is visible, it should be in a PVC fence.
Okay, fair enough, yes.
And I think that would solve my concerns about, because before it was really construction activities associated with your exhibit.
Right,
And that was an actual construction dumpster.
exactly.
And they had a lot of testimony that they would keep the trash inside, but I think that'd be more appropriate.
This will be a small dumpster, the small ones that the guy comes in and just
Yeah.
looks like,
Front
yeah,
yard,
okay.
outside the fence.
Yeah, yeah.
Or if they want to do trash cans, they do trash cans. It all depends on their thing, but at least we have it there for whatever use it is. And we know trash is not just sitting in the open area. Is that acceptable?
Acceptable, absolutely.
That's all the questions and comments that I had. Ms. Herbert?
Mr. Chairman, Mr. Bach has pretty much covered everything I've seen here. Board members have questions?
This is the property still that has the cell phone tower on it as well, correct?
It does, and I'm not sure if you're familiar with the status of that cell tower. I discovered it after I purchased the property, and when I went to try to sell the property, that the lease has been sold in perpetuity. So no, either myself or anyone else that ever wants to buy the property will ever have access to any funds from that cell tower.
And there is access required through that line.
There is.
Yes. Yeah, that's a whole separate issue.
Okay.
I'm not
But
saying-
I'm hearing that you're going to lock that, you were going to be locking that area. There's still going to, okay.
Or they would have the right to cut the line off if they wanted to.
Right, no, they
In
have
this
that.
application.
Now, curious enough, the access on the plans that were approved by the board were through the front fence for that cell tower, not through the back. How that morphed to the back, I don't know.
Yeah, I'm gonna just put on the record, it was never approved by this board or by, that was at least, that, I believe, if memory serves, that was at carrier and the property owner, but it wasn't subject to any approvals.
So the access in the back is not required
It
So
was-
who do they pay their rent to?
themselves.
So they sold the lease agreement separately, the lease to the cell tower separately from the property. Am I understanding that correctly?
And in perpetuity, and they can renew it every 5 years without being challenged.
So
I'm not touching that one.
I'll leave that go because that's your business operation.
Yeah.
But
You may want to talk to Mr. Foley about it afterwards.
so your prior approval for this property, when you were operating your business, required that you allow access to the cell phone tower
Yes.
through that rear area, the lock
Correct.
gate area.
Correct.
That is a condition that's already riding with the property. You would continue that condition.
That will stay intact.
Because that's actually what they're doing.
Yes.
And so we just want to make sure that was reflected, that was part of a prior approval.
Yeah, Mr. Chairman, any questions? from the board?
I don't have anything further. Anybody else? Public, of course. Seeing no more questions or comments from the board, if anybody from the public has any question or comment, please come forward. We'll have the solicitor swear you in and take your questions or comments. Yes, sir, come forward. Young man, we're going to have our solicitor swear you in.
Sir, if you just state your name for the record and where you live? I'm sorry, I couldn't pick that up.
That's spelled Tziomba.
And your address?
611 West Kings Highway, Waterbury. 08106.
Go ahead, Mr. Zimba. Let me swear you in. I apologize. Please place your right hand. You solemnly swear testimony you're about to give us the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God.
I do.
Go ahead.
Okay, I just didn't understand two things. One is how many parking spaces are there?
They said there were 20?
20.
Yes. How do we get 20 parking spaces?
And it goes with the patience of the board. I have the previous approved site plans. If I try to find, count them up. Twenty are approved on our previous site plan application.
Okay.
Can I get, with your permission, I can show you? So
Sure.
this is, they're parking along the side of the building, and they have parking approved in this area. So this is their parking right along the side, and this is the parking right before the fence gate.
They can park in here,
Not the 30-foot, not the common drive aisle.
they can park here.
They could park all the way down to the end of their building, in a little pass. And I believe that was all striped.
I think we were required to be striped as part of that approval.
You can get 10 spots there, from the front of the building to the rear of the building.
I believe there might be a little more, sir.
I don't think so. And this strip here,
Yes,
they're gonna park there?
no,
There's 20?
Okay, does he own this?
Just let him talk.
yes, and I'm referring to the board, and I'm gonna pass this around. He owns this 30-foot right of way, which is an access easement that goes through, and his area that parking is immediately adjacent to the building. But there's no parking in that common access aisle. It goes back to the other.
There's no parking here,
Correct.
there's always parking there.
There should not be. So this was a previously approved site plan. And if
When we were here for the variances for the brewery and everything else, there were always trucks parked here. Those trucks are still here.
If that is not consistent with the previous approval, the ag is.
I think the applicant had maybe.
I know there has been loading and unloading.
No,
On the
no,
side.
there's permanent trucks parked there, King Concrete and a lot of other trucks are permanently parked there.
King Concrete parks behind the Sherwin-Williams building in that fenced-in lot. King Concrete does not park on my property.
So maybe I can add this. The common driveway, and I assume you're right across the street here.
Yes, sir.
The common driveway is half on the applicant's property and half on the Sherwin-Williams property.
Yes, okay.
So, and I noted, I believe in one of my photographs, they have some dumpsters in the Sherwin-Williams property that are not supposed to be there. There may be other things. That is not on the applicant's property. If there's ever any concern in terms of whether a neighbor is meeting their obligations under approvals, you can always reach out to our zoning office and ask that question of our zoning officials. That's right, Suzanne. And Suzanne would be the one to call. If that's what the zoning officer.
Okay, I'm sorry, I didn't understand what you said.
So if you believe someone is parking,
Not here, but
right, if they're parking in an area where you believe from what you understood your previous approvals, and they're not living up to those items, you should do an inquiry as to people actually operating the property as they were approved, and you would do it through the zoning office at Haddon Heights. You would call the Haddon Heights zoning office, and you say, I don't believe they're operating, and you could list what you just said in terms of your concerns. Is that an interjection to Ms. Herbert?
No, that is correct, Mr. Bach, as always. Sir, you have any other questions besides the
I
parking?
have one other question. And it may not be relative, but I'll ask it. Are the bathrooms in the facility going to be commonly used by all three people? Or are people going to have their separate bedrooms?
There are individual bathrooms and there's a handicap bathroom.
And they're being used separately by the different tenants. That all three tenants can't use all the bathrooms.
No.
So each tenant would have access to their own bathrooms?
There could potentially be shared. I mean, if that is a requirement, I put locks on doors and I give each tenant their own lock.
That's not,
That's
I
not
don't,
a requirement.
I don't think
And
this
and
board wants
I
to
would caution
require
the
that.
board not to really get specific.
That's a building code official, right?
Correct.
Or a building code issue, not a planning board matter.
Okay, because, pardon me for having a memory. When the brewery company came in for their variance, the question came up about bathroom use. And they said there was only one bathroom, and that's why I was wondering, did they add bathrooms or what?
We did add, to clarify, there were 3 bathrooms in the building before the brewery, and there were 3 additional ones added with the brewery. So there are 6.
Good memory, sir.
Right?
Because beer is only borrowed.
So, yeah, the applicant, sir, can you just say that for the record? So you're also concerned about trucks parking just, outside of prescribed parking areas. So you would make sure that no one is parking outside of the prescribed parking areas?
Stipulated in the lease, yes.
Yes. All right, thank you, sir.
Steve, I think that's a Sherwin-Williams issue. If it's their-
I-
it's
I-
their-
I-
it is.
When you say that I couldn't have tractor trailers when I was there, I was like, sure,
Yeah,
every day. I didn't have them, but maybe once a week.
Yeah.
I was a little surprised.
Has a truck come in every
They
day?
do, and it was in my way most of the time, but, I just.
We
looked
nag
around.
the other guy.
And they do have that area in the back where they're supposed to be turning around, but they don't.
Right.
So, in terms of the server ones, but you have control over your property.
Yep.
You're not having tractor trailers, and it's up to you to enforce as the owner of the property.
Yes.
That people are only parking in the prescribed areas that are part of your previously approved site.
Yep.
One other person?
Come forward, sir. We'll have you sworn in.
And I'm going to pass this around because I was referring, just for the record, to the previously approved site plan, minor site plan for 1500 Kingside Way. This
so the board knows what I was talking about.
Sir, if you just say your name?
Yes, sir. I'm Gary Moore.
Garrett?
Gary.
Gary?
300 Kings Highway.
Last name?
Morris.
Morris?
You said 300 Kings Highway? 1400, I'm sorry.
Haddon Heights or
Kings Highway
Audubon?
Associates.
Is it Audubon or Haddon Heights?
Haddon Heights.
Okay.
That's right behind Sherman.
Okay.
Address the gentleman's question about the
Mr. Morris, if you just raise your right hand, do you solemnly swear to testimony that you give is the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God? Thank you.
So I think the partner of King Highway Associates, we're located behind Sherman Williams King. So the gentleman asked the questions, we've been there for 40 years. So we have King Concrete and Lieutenant, they just wanted to trip overnight. Next morning. We also have FNP Construction, which is also there. We also have Built It Right, they do utility underground pipe material. In our yard back there, so the trucks that we're speaking of, those tenants of Kings Highway Associates. As far as the variance for the our neighbors, there was a June proposal, I think, several years ago, that was denied because of the traffic congestion. So when Sherman Williams has a tractor trailer truck that comes in, usually it's around middle of the day or around 4 o'clock. I think the young ladies, for most of her dance studio comes from 4 o'clock to 6 o'clock. That's when all the contractors come back from their jobs. That there's a Sherman Williams truck park, they're usually traveling back up to Kings Highway. The traffic already is very congested. You mentioned most of your students are locally or they get driven in front of town?
Well, they don't walk, I mean, they're local, they're from Westmont, they're from, one girl can now walk up, I think, his property. They're from the area, many are from the area.
Okay.
The parents will drop them off and take off.
His place is on the other side of Sherwood.
Here, no, it's behind it.
Behind it, right.
Yeah, these are all like storage sheds for contractors back
Inside
there.
that area, with the trucks coming and going.
You see that? It says
Just getting
AT&T
dropped
on
off.
there.
Someone gets dropped off, you have to go up to turn around. So I was, during the busy hour, when her classes are, that's when most of everyone comes back from their day routine. So my issue with that would be construction and the congestion traffic back on Kings Highway. No matter which way you're going, of course, that daytime day is very busy. So that'd be my concern of having a studio. I'm not against it, an office for a couple folks, but I think a dance studio for students who are coming and going during the busy hours, wouldn't make any sense to me.
What did you do during when it was a brewery?
The brewery was after hours, everybody was going.
Well, I
Until like 5 or 6 o'clock.
I really don't see how it's fair that an adjacent business impacts a shared drive aisle. That doesn't sound right to me. I mean, it shouldn't be blocked. I mean, that's, I know in reality what you're saying, but then that's a problem. And then as a landlord, you should be enforcing that, and Sherman Williams should be doing the same thing. I don't see how that's his problem.
You're the owner of what we consider the light industrial flex area behind the Sherwin-Williams.
The three units back there.
I think there's more than 3 units.
It looks like 3 on the aerial, but
Yeah, it could be.
there might be more. There's 3 structures.
Right, so in the existing structures that allow that flex light industrial that's already been established.
It's pre-existing use.
And it could be multiple units, whatever it is.
I'm not questioning the
They
use.
share that same 30-foot access aisle or easement or right of way, depends on which survey we look at as well. So a portion of that is on the applicant's property, a portion of that is on the Sherwin-Williams, and that provides access to this gentleman's property.
I'm sure he's probably got an easement to the rear.
So I would offer up the same advice to the previous member of the public. If they are parking in a common access drive, they're not supposed to be. And they should not be impeding any access there. So I would offer it up the same way, contact our zoning office and see if they can be of any assistance to you in terms of how they're operating their site.
Maybe Sherwin Williams should be told, if they're cited, then they would, I don't want to,
They have
play
areas-
devil's advocate here, but maybe they should accommodate their deliveries at less peak times that wouldn't impact their neighbors. I mean,
Or
that seems like
maybe
a pretty
Sherwin
simple
Williams
solution to
should
me.
be-
It doesn't impact you as well, Gary.
Yeah, there is a prescribed loading area for the Sherwin-Williams that is now full of dumpsters. So there's.
I see it
So
right
I think
here.
you may have some concerns, but the applicant has already stipulated, this applicant has stipulated that they will not be allowing vehicles terms of turnaround, I defer the board to the previously approved application. When you come to the common drive area, there is an area for K-turn at the rear of the structure that can be accommodated for people to actually do turning movements.
You would turn right when you get back there and then back up, right?
Correct, and that was part of the previous group site plan. But that has to stay open, so I can't have any materials stored there or vehicles stored there and everything else. That would impede that.
Sort of sounds like to me with these new proposed uses, it's not going to be a situation where you would anticipate a lot of stuff being stored or blocking that
Nothing is
access.
permitted.
That should be cleared anyway in case to give the cell phone tower people their access as well.
So and the gentleman asked me if the traffic is his biggest concern, as stated. So the applicant has already indicated what the uses are, 4 to 6 storage, dance use. They've indicated what they expect for traffic generation, and they also agree that no contracting will be permitted as part of the small business storage uses, and no tractor trailers will be allowed to be operated on the site. I'm going to suggest to Mr. Herbert, I know I'm mixing public testimony, but would it be appropriate for the leases to be submitted to your office, or an example of that lease to be submitted to the solicitor in terms of that language? Or is that inappropriate? Oh, I'm on the edge here.
Yeah, normally we don't do that, but, I mean, if we want to make a condition, this is a use variance, so we can make it a condition of approval.
Is that acceptable that way, in that way? Or,
I'm sorry, just to clarify, submitting a lease, like all leases or?
No.
A sample lease.
A sample lease, yeah, sample form. Much like our review of a
Someone's
deed.
just it's gonna have all the conditions on there.
The two attorneys can have a meeting in mind in terms of how that is stated. Okay?
Okay. So Steve, so the question I have for the dance, and your name is, so how many students in a class at one time typically?
Our reviews best in earlier classes, the biggest classes, 10 students, 7 of them can be together, so I'd say maybe 6 cars coming.
6 cars. So these people pull into the spot, they drop their kid off, and they pull back out and they leave most of the time,
Most
right?
of them, yeah.
What's that? Yeah, I'm saying,
Well,
so.
Mr. Morris, it sounds like you-
There's no parking on State
It sounds like your
Avenue.
concern is the same as the applicant's. You and the applicant probably share the same concern. He doesn't want somebody blocking that aisle either, it doesn't sound like. Yeah, I live 1300 block, so I see the truck there all, I come and go through there all the time. Yeah. We shouldn't, both of you shouldn't be forced to endure that hardship constantly.
So any other? No. Perfect. Thank you.
No, I appreciate you raising it.
Thank you, Mr. Morris. I don't think anybody else is here from the public, so unless you have anything further to add, or you want to come forward again, we'll close public. You want to talk about?
Mr. Herbert, I'm going to suggest one more thing, because
Go ahead.
that suggestion about reporting the resolution, because there's going to be a lot of conditions. I know there are, our clerk's office representative does like it, but especially in terms of storage for small businesses, there's going to be a lot of conditions on it that would be very good if that could be recorded. That's something, just recording the resolution, not deed restricting or anything else.
That's fine.
Because I've never done that before, and I think it's great. We're suggesting it a lot.
I've been around a while.
That's good. I'm not a pro, Mr. Chairman.
Anybody else have any questions or comments? We want to talk about the straw poll and the vote. And et
Yeah,
cetera, like the last
board
case?
members, as you know, this is a use variance application. We've had a previous history with this project, this site. Back in 2016, there was an approval of manufacturing auto repair customized service. You heard the testimony about this. later approved for a use variance to allow residential apartments at the 2018 meeting. There was a denial in 2023 for a fleet vehicle equipment storage application for the site. And, you heard the testimony about it being a brewery and so forth. And now it is just being brought before you as a dance studio with a maximum of 10 students for a session and storage. So of course, there are D variances and that are part of this application. You heard voluminous testimony with regard to how the businesses were run and how the site functioned. You also heard testimony with regard to the use variances and why under the positive and negative criteria would work for the site. So with that, we have this application. Is everyone comfortable moving forward to placing it on the table, discussion, and vote? Yes.
I'm comfortable with the conditions that we talked about.
We've put extensive, I can't even talk anymore. Extensive conditions on the record. Yes, the Phillies are losing badly, so I can't talk. So.
Glad to hear you're a Phillies fan.
Yeah. Again, Attorney Foley came before this board. Attorney Foley, I should say solicitor, I'm from up north. Solicitor Foley, you're comfortable moving forward with the vote? Is your client comfortable moving forward with the vote?
We are.
Okay.
I'm sorry, can I clarify one thing? With the submission of the lease for approval, would this vote then allow for a storage client that falls within that lease that isn't outside of wouldn't be a contractor or something like that? Would I need to submit an application for storage clients moving forward?
No.
So I think as long as you fell within those
You use the
parameters that we
standard lease,
set,
yeah.
then
So this will be a blanket one for. as long
Correct,
as
correct.
they-
We're not here to govern every little business that goes in there. We're
Yeah,
here.
I just want to make sure I have a little bit of room. I don't
Just wanna
have
set-
everyone.
As you heard from board members, if the board were to act positively with regard to your application, that use variance grant runs with the land and, can be used in the future.
It's only really the specific conditions, not who's going in.
Of
It is
course.
no tractor trailers.
Right.
No hours of operations, things that you agreed to.
we're just here to set controls,
Yeah.
basically.
You agreed to.
Yeah, I mean, this application, there was an application before this one where it was turned down because it was a fleet type services going in there, and the board just wants to try to stay away from that.
Understood. Thank you.
I have a question. The leases for the storage businesses, that you want to see a sample lease for?
Yes.
We're not,
Office as well?
As long as they're not gonna have a tractor trailer.
Yeah.
And no tractor trailers for the ballet company?
No tractor trailer.
I would suggest that you get Mr. Herbert's form of resolution. The specific requirements are the ones that I would suggest.
Right.
You have a language acceptable to Mr. Herbert that you can include in the lease. No one is suggesting that
Yeah.
this board or.
Alicia Lipton, who's with me tonight, and I will be preparing this resolution, and we'll make sure that we have all the conditions. The great thing is we can watch. We can watch the video again to see what the conditions are.
God bless you too.
More Miss Lipton than I.
Does anybody want to make a motion to approve or deny the application contingent on what Mr. Herbert said?
One other condition, taxes must be brought current.
Absolutely. As soon as I have tenants, I can pay the taxes. Happy to do so. I haven't missed in 8 years. This is the first quarter that we are late. I missed, but I'm only late. And I will pay the.
Normally, the board would not even hear your application,
I understand
and
that. I appreciate
the
your
administration allowed it to come forward.
I appreciate that.
We understand the hardship.
Thank you.
Okay.
I mean, I don't even know where to begin. I'll make the motion to approve the application.
Based upon the testimony that was placed upon the record,
100%.
and the letter that was stated by Mr. Bach, and all of the
Conditions.
agreed to conditions were placed upon the record.
and everything that's been recorded by that camera over there.
Correct. I'll make that motion.
Anybody like to second it?
I'll second.
Any comments, discussion on the motion, questions? Seeing none, entertain a roll call vote, please.
Chairman Hanson.
Yes.
Mr. Dukakis.
Yes.
Mr. Madden.
Yes.
Ms. Bonaccorsi. Yes. And Mr. Schmidt.
Yes.
Thanks, guys. You heard the spiel about the resolution and the appeal period and everything. 45 days from the publication date of the memorialization of the decision. Good luck. We're glad to see we could work out something that would be mutually beneficial to everybody, hopefully.
Thank you. Good luck.
We have anything else? We have any correspondence, Suzanne, under other business?
No.
Any other business?
No.
Anything with the board members? Seeing none, entertain a motion to adjourn. All in favor? Second. Any opposed? We're adjourned.
You said you were.